Hello, everyone, and welcome to Celebrating Clemson's Trailblazers, Female Leaders in Math and Science. We are so glad that you are able to join us today as we hear from a wonderful panel of women. I am Dr. Keisha Cook, and I am joining Clemson University's School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences as an assistant professor this fall. My main research area is mathematical biology, but outside of research, I am involved in a number of mentoring programs, organizations, and community service events that focus on enhancing diversity in the mathematical sciences. I believe that this service is a direct reflection of the mentors and trailblazers who paved the way for me. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Cynthia Young, who joined Clemson on August 15, 2017, as the founding dean of Clemson University's new College of Science. Under Dean Young's leadership, the college developed an aspirational 2026 strategic plan, SciForward, focused on excellence in scientific discovery, learning, and engagement that is both locally relevant and globally impactful. Dean Young and the science leadership team are focused on three key goals. One, strengthening the national and international prominence of our scientific discovery. Two, elevating the science learning experience. And three, challenging the status quo. Under Dean Young's leadership, the College of Science has worked to strengthen the culture of the power of strategic partnerships, including ones with the College of Business, the Greenwood Genetics Center, and South Carolina State University. She believes that diversity makes us smarter as we tackle tomorrow's greatest scientific challenges and prepare the next generation of leading scientists, and has expanded the recruitment and engagement of our students and faculty who are traditionally underrepresented in science. Prior to coming to Clemson, she spent 20 years at the University of Central Florida, UCF, where she served in several leadership roles. Please join me in a virtual round of applause as we welcome Dean Cynthia Young.
Thank you, Keisha, so much. Good afternoon, go Tigers. We are so excited for Dr. Keisha Cook to join us at Clemson. In fact, this fall, we have 6 new tenure track assistant professors who will be joining us in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences, and 3 of those are women. Dr. Cook will be our first Black woman in a tenure track faculty position in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. I've had the opportunity to engage a couple times with Dr. Cook, and let me tell you, she is a trailblazer of her own, and she has established already interdisciplinary mathematical biology collaborations here at Clemson. So Keisha, welcome to the Clemson family.
Thank you so much for having me.
I also want to welcome all of you who are joining us virtually. You know, this is an exciting time for the College of Science. Since our inception in 2016, I feel like everything's on the rise. You know, graduation rates are rising. Freshman retention rates, rising. Faculty recognition, national and international, rising. Philanthropic support, rising. We're just getting started. So the future is bright for science at Clemson. And, you know, that's thanks to all of our people, the incredible people who are advancing science every day through their work, through their studies, through their support. I'm looking forward to introducing you to some of the outstanding women who are leading with excellence both at Clemson and beyond. But first, I want to welcome a very special guest who has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the College of Science, and she's been a key part of our continued success. Emily Peek Wallace graduated from Clemson in 1972 with a degree in mathematics. And at that time, she was one of very few women in her classes. She has built a stellar career at SAS Institute, a software development company in Cary, North Carolina, where she currently serves as the Senior Director of the Knowledge Management Center. Emily and her husband, Jack, were actually 2 of the very first 100 employees at SAS. And in order to encourage students following in their footsteps, she established the Emily Peek Wallace Scholarship Endowment for STEM in 2019. That provides scholarships for students in science, technology, engineering, and math. Today, I am thrilled to announce that she is giving $1.25 million to establish the Emily Peek Wallace Endowed Directorship for the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. We are truly honored by this gift and so very thankful to Emily for her support. As many of you know, an endowed faculty position allows Clemson to retain top talent, and by being the first endowed faculty position in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences, this gift will provide support for the school director and enable initiatives throughout the school. Emily, on behalf of Dr. Kevin James, the founding director, and all of the faculty and staff in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences, thank you. I know they take great pride in honoring your legacy as they are tackling some of tomorrow's big challenges through the research, and as they're strengthening the quantitative foundations of all students and preparing the next generation of leading mathematicians, statisticians, and data scientists. So Emily, I've got a question for you. You've invested in Clemson for years. You've provided a scholarship endowment, and now you've taken your philanthropic investment to the next level with this endowed directorship. Will you please take a moment and share with us who are here today? Tell us what motivated you to make a gift like this.
Thank you, Dean Young. From an early age, the value of education has always been taught to me. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and since my parents did not have an opportunity to attend college, it was very important to them that my brother and I both received our degrees. My parents offered to send me to any state-supported school in South Carolina, so of course I chose Clemson. I majored in math, and I loved every minute of my Clemson experience. At that time, there were about 7,000 students on campus and only 700 women. So in almost all of my technical classes, they were taught by male faculty, and I was the only woman or one of two women in those classes. That prepared me very well for a career in technology, since there were very few women in software development in the early days of my career. As Dean Young mentioned, I have been working at SAS Institute for almost 40 years. It's a long time. SAS is a privately owned software company that grew from a research grant at NC State University, and it was set up to analyze agricultural data. So education and analytics have been a part of the SAS DNA. The two owners of SAS, Jim Goodnight and John Saul, have been extremely supportive of education, and they and their families have been very generous in sponsoring education programs as well as championing educational policies in North Carolina. They've been such strong role models for me because of their passion and financial support for education. Before the advent of social media, I had very little interaction with Clemson and very little knowledge of what was happening on campus. And that was because I'm living in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina and surrounded by several ACC universities and other colleges. That began to change when Corinne Grant of Clemson's development office started to visit me at SAS at least once or twice a year, and she would bring me news about Clemson and would mention some of the opportunities for supporting students and academics. I had always given to the Clemson Fund annually, but not large donations, so I realized that I wanted to do more. My husband and I both decided to create scholarships at our alma maters, Jack at Washington and Lee University in Virginia, and me at Clemson. Each of us created a scholarship for underrepresented groups who were majoring in STEM degrees. And it was such a thrill for me the first time the envelope arrived from Clemson that contained the pictures and the bios of the students who were receiving my scholarship. It still continues to be a very special day each year when I receive the information about next year's scholarship recipients. When the Watt Family Innovation Center construction was nearing completion, Dr. Watt expressed an interest in having SAS become a founding partner for the Watt Center and having SAS software available there. Dr. Watt asked that I approach Dr. Goodnight to see if he would be willing for SAS to become a Watt Center founding partner, and Dr. Goodnight very quickly agreed to do that. Giovanna King and I worked through the logistics with many SAS and Clemson staff, and finally SAS became a founding partner at the Watt Center and donated several $1 million of SAS software for academic and research use. The SAS software has been available for almost 3 years now, and Dr. Goodnight has recently agreed to extend the donation for another 3 years. Several years ago, I was invited to join the Clemson University Foundation Board. That's the organization that manages Clemson's endowment. This experience has given me a much better appreciation for the funding needed to support Clemson's efforts to attract and retain exceptional faculty and to encourage and educate outstanding students by providing funds for scholarships, faculty support, and research opportunities. Understanding these needs has led me to endow the directorship in the School of Mathematics and Statistical Sciences. Both math and statistics are such foundational areas of study because they are competencies that are needed in most careers today, both in research and in business. Just think about how many COVID statistics have been quoted to us over the last 15 months, and how many analyses must have been done to project the efficacy and safety of the COVID vaccines. SAS and our customers need employees with these analytical skills. For projects such as working with regional, national, and international governments to design and implement many COVID initiatives, working with our financial customers to identify fraudulent insurance claims and other suspicious financial activity, and working with our pharma customers to generate clinical research analytics for drug submissions to the FDA and other agencies. There is extremely strong competition for graduates who have math and analytics skills, and I know that both SAS and our customers are having challenges hiring people with this expertise. I'm hopeful that this endowment to the School of Mathematics and Statistical Science will help to increase the number of Clemson graduates in these important fields and to broaden the talent pool that is available to fill these critical business roles. So that's the reason for my donation.
Thank you so much, Emily. When I think about you, I think of first. You have truly gone first in so many ways, as a woman student in mathematics, in industry, as a leader, and now endowing the directorship in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. And, we as women in science, we're fortunate to look up to you as a trailblazer who has paved the way for many of us. So thank you so much. I am now honored to welcome our panelists for today's discussion. These women are each trailblazers in their own way, spanning the life, physical, and mathematical sciences. We're looking forward to sharing our experiences and celebrating the culture of philanthropy that continues to accelerate Clemson forward. I'll first welcome back Dr. Keisha Cook. Keisha is coming to Clemson from Tulane University, where she has been conducting postdoctoral research in mathematical biology, and she's been volunteering with STEM NOLA to increase the productivity and visibility of Black and or female students. Next, we have Susi Robinson, a 1985 Clemson grad in mathematical sciences, who currently works at Nikia DX in Charlotte, North Carolina, as a business development executive. Like Emily, Susi also experienced being one of few women in her classes and has since built a successful career providing enterprise solutions, most recently in the areas of robotic process automation and digital transformation and customer engagement. Shelby Hill graduated from Clemson with a chemistry degree in 2018 and is now a graduate teaching assistant enrolled in the chemistry Ph.D. program at the University of Southern California, or as I say, the USC. While she was at Clemson, Shelby worked to develop compounds that would be effective against diseases that are resistant to all frontline drugs. Shaoni Dasgupta just graduated this past May, walked across the stage from Clemson with a degree in biological sciences, and is now an MD PhD candidate at the Medical University of South Carolina. Shaoni's undergraduate research focused on the gene sequences and enzymes that affect the severity of particular fungi. And finally, we have Dr. Saara DeWalt, who is professor and chair of the Department of Biological Sciences here at Clemson. Some of you may not know this, biosci is the largest major at Clemson. And she has been at Clemson for 16 years. Her research addresses a number of questions in plant population and community ecology, particularly in the area of tropical forests. So thank you all so much for participating today. It's good to see you all. And then to those of you who are watching, if you submit a question during today's discussion, we're going to give us those afterwards and we'll follow up at the conclusion of the event. So I'm the MC and the moderator today. I get to ask the questions. I'll start with Keisha. Keisha, you're our newest Tiger, right? So one of the questions I have for you is what's drawing you to Clemson and specifically to our School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences?
Okay, thank you so much for the warm welcome, Dean Young. I'm excited to join the faculty here at Clemson, specifically in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences, as the first Black woman tenure-track faculty here. As you stated earlier, I've already been working on some great projects with faculty in math, stats, and biological sciences. When I first met Dean Young, I was inspired by her story and accomplishments. She was very candid about her goals and initiatives that she had for the College of Science and displayed a genuine excitement for the future. I knew that joining the faculty here would allow me to grow not only as an academic, but also advocate for and create spaces for enhancing diversity, and especially for Black students, women students, and underrepresented students in mathematics and statistics. I relied heavily on mentorship throughout my career thus far, and at every step, I have been a mentor for those following a similar path. So when I couldn't find a space, I created one for myself and for others, whether that was in math or the university as a whole. And I was impressed by the number of mentoring programs that Clemson has to offer, specifically for the students and the faculty, but I look forward to being a part of them. I knew that the School of the School of Math and Stats and the College of Science would provide the necessary resources for myself and for mentoring students. So I was also looking to begin my career at a university that provided a welcoming and supportive environment for all the students and the faculty and staff that I've met so far. They've shown a keen interest in acclimating me to the university. So I knew this would be beneficial for my growth and success here at Clemson as a researcher. Since my research is interdisciplinary, I know Dean Young has an emphasis on interdisciplinary research, which requires work with faculty and students across the college. There are so many interesting research groups in the school, two of which I've already joined. This not only sparks new ideas for my research program, but it also allows me to expand my knowledge of applied mathematics. Students are a very important part of developing my research program, and my goal is to immerse them into interdisciplinary research that teaches them to speak and understand the language of experimentalists that they'll be working with. The ones I've met with so far, they're excited and ready to learn. They're passionate about their studies, and I look forward to teaching them and learning over the years. But overall, Clemson, the College of Science, the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences will definitely provide the support, the environment, and resources for a fruitful career.
Keisha, you're an incredible addition to our Clemson family, and we're just thrilled to have you. And you're right, you're going to thrive here, and we look forward to tracking your career as you continue to elevate Clemson's visibility. So welcome to the Clemson family. Again, we're going to keep up.
Thank you.
All right, so speaking of the Clemson family, let me transition to Susi. Susi, you know that the Clemson family is very special and very real. And as an alumna, what do you want to share with our students as they're beginning their journey?
Dean Young, you are so right. The Clemson family is special. And what the students and the recent graduates will find out is that the Clemson family is much bigger than what you experience while you're on campus, right? So now, for the recent graduates, once they've taken off their cap and gown, it's time to paint the vision for what they want their future to be. And you can do that while on campus as well. And the idea that I've learned, I wish somebody had told me years ago, is to try to live intentionally with that plan in mind. It's good for people to look back step, to slow down once in a while and take a look back, see how far they've come, celebrate all the special moments that they've had, recently, and then embark upon new adventures and next steps in their planned journey. And you will find Clemson family no matter where your job takes you, where you travel in the world. I've seen this myself when in my world travels, and it's a good idea to seek out Clemson connections. Dr. Cook, what an amazing young woman. She's one right there you should be talking to, right? And the other women panelists. So seek out those connections and ask for mentorship to help guide you along your career. And one other piece of advice, I really do encourage people to give back. Find a way to give back. You can start serving on boards and committees while on campus as soon as you graduate. But everybody has gifts. You have time, you have talent, you have money. So find a way to look for causes that are near and dear to your heart and that speak to your passion, and find a way to get involved. And best of luck to you.
Thank you, Susie. I think we would all agree there's definitely something magic in these hills, and something very unique about a Clemson connection after you leave Clemson. It's a very special bond. Very special. Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Shelby, you're currently in a Ph.D. program in chemistry at the USC. How well did we prepare you at Clemson for such an elite research university?
Well, thank you for having me. And I would say that Clemson did a great job of preparing me for my PhD program, as well as my future. On the class side of things, Clemson did more than just offer, your typical chemistry classes that are more content driven. We also had classes that were more focused on the broader aspects of how we would use our degree in the future. I remember we had classes that we all took together, all of the majors at the same time. And one of them, Dr. Dieter, was our professor, and he had several different chemistry graduates that were doing all kinds of different things professionally come in and kind of tell us their career path and just give us some insight into what we could actually do with our degree. Some did go into graduate school, so I got advice with that. Some did other things, but it was really great for us to all have that opportunity to be able to hear from people like that. We also had to take a class on chemistry communications. So basically learning how to present your work and your research, which is really important in graduate school. It's one of the things that earns you a PhD, is being able to communicate your work effectively. So we were taught how to put together a research poster. We were able to put one together, see each other's and give each other feedback. Also putting together a research talk and give each other feedback on that as well. So those were all really helpful classes like that. And then when it comes to research opportunities, I was able to do undergraduate research during the year at Clemson. And then I also had a lot of help from my advisor, Dr. Marcus. He helped me with applying to REUs or internships for the summer to give me opportunities to work in other labs and really just get my feet wet to kind of make the transition or the learning curve to graduate school a little less steep, and just give me that good experience. And he also was very helpful in the application process. He is kind of one of the reasons I ended up at USC. He told me to make sure to apply to a few schools that I just wanted the free trip. So LA seemed like a great place to go. So I applied and visited, not necessarily being super serious about the school, but once I got there, I loved it, and it became a really great decision, and that was some really good advice. So I'm very thankful for all of the help and guidance I had at Clemson, and I do feel that it really did prepare me.
Yeah, thank you, Shelby. That signature undergraduate research experience, we hear that a lot. Dr. Marcus is excellent at helping students navigate, and it's you have a bright future ahead of you. I'm glad we prepared you well, and USC's spectacular school. So thank you for carving the time out to be with us today. We look forward to talking with you a little bit more. Okay, so Shaoni, you just graduated in May. Congratulations with your undergraduate degree. You were attracted to an MD Ph.D. program at MUSC. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. So from a young age, I knew that I wanted to be a doctor due to a past volunteer experience. So as time went by, that desire never really changed. And then I got involved in research in high school for my high school senior thesis project. And I also continued doing research in undergrad with Dr. Carrie Smith in the genetics and biochem department. And as I was performing research, my love for research also really developed. And so when it came time to choosing what I wanted to do for a career path, I didn't want to choose between medicine or between doing solely research. I wanted to find a way that I could perform both. And so that's why I decided to apply to some MD PhD programs. And so those programs are really the best of both worlds, at least for me, even though it's significantly longer than a traditional MD experience. I just thought it would be the best way for me to help my future patients, because not only am I going to be physically treating their diseases, but I'm also going to go a step further and investigate the diseases they're suffering from more of a molecular standpoint.
You're impressive, Shaoni. Wishing you all the best at MUSC.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to transition to one of our current faculty, Dr. Saara DeWalt. Hi, Saara. You are the department chair, faculty member, professor, and the department chair of the largest department on campus. In your leadership role, and as a faculty, give us that lens too, what is the landscape for the recruitment and retention of what we would say is top faculty talent?
Yeah, I think the landscape for recruitment, particularly in the life sciences, which I know most about, for top faculty talent is really good. You know, in biological sciences, we try to hire once, hire and then keep those faculty. And that's for our teaching track faculty as well as our teaching and research track faculty. And as I look to attract top talent, I think back at my own experience, why I wanted to come here and why I wanted to stay. About 16 years ago, when I was applying to an assistant professor opening here in the Department of Biological Sciences, I was mainly attracted to Clemson because of the high quality research that I could do here. But there were two other characteristics of Clemson that distinguish Clemson from other universities to which I was applying. First was that Clemson cares greatly and deeply about its undergraduate students. And, we put undergraduate students first, preparing them for their future careers. And second, I felt like I was going to matter as an individual faculty member. The faculty, staff, and students that I met during my interview were really warm, really friendly. And I remember the last night of my interview, I went to dinner with two women professors who were really happy to be at Clemson and made me feel like I would be really happy here too. And then once I was here, I stayed because I really enjoyed teaching and working with the Clemson undergraduates. I could recruit great graduate students. I could do my temperate and tropical ecology research, and I just felt happy. And I had mentors. I had trailblazers in my department and across the university that told me over and over again, we value you. We want you to succeed. They asked me what I need. They pushed me as best as they could. Clemson also sponsored leadership programs that I took part in, like one called Trailblazers, that helped me prepare for the leadership roles that I would take on, including being chair of the Department of Biological Sciences. So as I'm recruiting faculty, I'm always thinking about retaining them. We know that faculty need great people around them. They need great undergraduate students who are thirsty for knowledge. They need top graduate students and postdocs that can help them work with them on their research projects. we know that they need great staff to take care of financial and logistical and technical aspects of research and teaching and all that faculty do. We know that they need great facilities, classrooms with technology, research lab space, equipment like high-end microscopes, sequencers, for plant biologists like me, greenhouses, herbaria, and they need to feel valued and supported. So I found that happy faculty makes it easier to recruit and retain more top faculty. And I found that happy faculty mean happy and successful students. So, and what I've also found is that recruiting and retaining comes down to resources. And so I was really excited to hear about Emily Wallace's gift that is going to provide us with more resources to retain and attract and retain great faculty from a diversity of backgrounds. Undergraduate scholarships and graduate fellowships also make all the difference in attracting great talent. So I think the landscape looks really good. I think we're in a positive feedback loop. You know, we keep getting better, and that helps us get better. So I'm really happy.
Good. Thanks, Saara. Thanks so much for all you've done, as a faculty member for students in your own research, but thank you for your leadership of the department. You've been chair here for, I think it's just finished your second year, and the department is thriving under your leadership. So thanks for being with us today.
Thanks.
So I'm going to tee this up to the panel. Emily mentioned how she was often one of the only, if not the one, female in her courses back in 1970. Often didn't have a lot of women to look up to. I'm curious to hear from the rest of the panel. Did you have a role model? Who was a trailblazer you looked up to?
I'll take that first, Dean Young. So I was not too far behind Emily, and there weren't a lot of women trailblazers out there in business. So I would say that my trailblazer was a fellow student, Julie Cook, who is now Julie Seats. And she went to IBM a year ahead of me, and she encouraged me and pushed me to take the next step in my career. The next step, you can do more. You can get out of programming, you can be a systems engineer, and then you can be in sales and, make more money and drive deals, and, just really encouraged me. And for a long time, she went on to become an executive at Coca-Cola and Delta. We're still in touch today. And in the last, I'd say last 10 years, she encouraged me to give of my time to serve on a board at Clemson. And I served on the parent council board for 4 years, which was a wonderful experience. So she continues to inspire me. She inspires women around the world. And I'm so thankful that I had somebody to encourage me to do more and expect more and believe in myself. So.
Yeah, so some of my role models, I was at the University of Alabama, so one of my role models was the dean of the graduate school, Susan Carbello at the time, a woman, and she was on top of, over everything, and it allowed me a lot of opportunities to get involved in academia as a whole. And then additionally, I mentioned earlier finding spaces. And so during my undergraduate and graduate education, I made sure to find a community of women and Black women in mathematics that was outside of the university. I joined a program called EDGE, Enhancing Diversity in Graduate Education. And this was a program for women math PhD students. And it provided a huge network of women and Black women in math. Many of us remain friends and colleagues today, but we use that network to share opportunities, help each other navigate academia. Additionally, the directors and the professors for that program, Reagan Higgins at Texas Tech and Amy Radinskaya, who's at Pomona College, they became my mentors. And then from that, I joined the Association for Women in Mathematics. So all of these organizations opened the door for many opportunities, especially as a graduate student. The president at the time, she was also director for EDGE. So bringing both of those networks together. But it was very important for me to find role models in order to see the success of those in mathematics and academia that look like myself.
And I'll jump in and just say that for me, I actually would say my mom was one of the trailblazers that I always looked up to. My mom actually got her PhD in chemistry at Clemson. So for me, it wasn't necessarily that we talked about chemistry at home or anything like that, but just always having that presence of seeing my mom, someone that looked like me, have a career in chemistry, and it just kind of let me know I could do anything. I never felt limited career-wise. And then also my chemistry teacher in high school is actually the reason I got into chemistry and really enjoyed it. And I think we don't necessarily put enough emphasis on that, because chemistry and any kind of STEM field, they are difficult subjects and kind of hard to understand. And so having a really good introduction to it early on can make all the difference in turning someone onto those fields and not turning them away. So luckily for me, I had a really good experience early on, which I think led me to want to pursue a PhD in chemistry.
I love it. I love it. It's interesting how you all found different, you found them in your home, in your classroom, in your peer group, outside your peer group, faculty. I think the moral of this story is find them where they are, wherever they are. Sounds like you've all had really great trailblazers of your own. You're giving me hope, Shelby. We have a 12-year-old at home. We're hoping she follows our footsteps. Okay, so let's change the subject. Let's fast forward. Based off what each of you have shared, we've come a long way in terms of the presence of women. I mentioned earlier, half of our tenure track faculty joining the School of Mathematics and Statistical Sciences, are women this year. Here's a question for you. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Who wants to take that?
I can start off there. SAS has a reputation for providing a very good work experience and a very diverse population. In fact, I think our employees are about 50% male and 50% female. So it's a very healthy work environment, especially for females. And for hiring, because of our reputation, we get a very diverse applicant pool, and we continue to do that, although it's shrinking a little bit because there's so many job opportunities in the Triangle area. But I see that the diversity has improved over the years and the opportunities have increased for all of us.
From my perspective in the life sciences, in academia at least, I would say we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. If you look at our student populations, or our undergraduate majors in biological sciences, microbiology, genetics, and biochemistry, we're over 70% women, closer in some of those majors to 80%. The majority of our graduate students are women. Women are also really highly represented among our teaching track faculty, and among our assistant professors in the Department of Biological Sciences, the majority are women. But then if you look at higher ranks among our tenured faculty, and specifically among our full professors, we're not equal. We're not at even 50%. So there's still what they call a leaky pipeline. We're losing perhaps women at each of these steps, but I see the support systems getting better and better. And as we have more women in the classroom and in the research lab, and in leadership roles, I think it will become even easier, and we can patch that leaky pipeline.
Yeah, so I would say in terms of admissions, at least from what I've seen, there's roughly equal numbers of both men and women admitted into medical schools. For MD PhD programs, I'm not 100% sure, since these programs are generally so small, but I'm sure there's, again, room for improvement. But it's also been encouraging to see like throughout the whole admissions process, how schools have been encouraging for more female applicants and for more diverse applicants. And I've also witnessed myself how people in my current class and for other schools, how there are a lot more people that look like me, and even in my upper classes as well.
Yeah, and similar for me and my cohort and among my peers, I would say that it's pretty even. And I do see a lot of people that look like me and that represent me on the student level. But again, on the faculty level, it's just not there yet. So it does make it a little difficult when trying to form committees and trying to have a representative committee or have someone on your committee that looks like you. It's a little difficult because we're just not there yet. But hopefully, as more of us are entering graduate school and medical school and pursuing these careers, we'll eventually see the work pay off.
Mm-hmm. I can, Emily, Susie, and Saara, do you agree that from our view, when we look at Keisha, Shelby, and Shaoni, we would say that the future for women in science and mathematics looks spectacular?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yes,
I love it.
I love it. All right, so I'm going to try to wrap us up. You know, the thoughtfulness, the creativity, the intellect, the capabilities reflected in this group are remarkable. And Clemson, I just want to say to you women, Clemson is very proud to be a part of each of your stories. We know there's many people joining us today. You know, Clemson is so proud to be part of their stories. Thank you all for taking time to share your experiences and insights with us today. And thank you for your commitment to Clemson, right? Thanks for picking Clemson. Thanks for your commitment to Clemson. Once again, I do want to say a very special thank you to Emily Wallace. You know, Emily, thank you for being a trailblazer and creating so much opportunity for so many. I, for one, am honored to call you my friend. Your dedication and engagement with our College of Science and your determination to positively influence the future of students is just inspirational. Today, we are celebrating the Emily Peek Wallace 1972 Directorship for the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. And you know, thank you so much for your philanthropic investment. And on behalf of everyone who's going to benefit from your gifts, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It means so much to me.
Thank you. Thank you for all of you for joining us today to celebrate trailblazing women in science and mathematics. We hope that you've been inspired by these talented members of the Clemson family and by the generosity of Emily Wallace. We want you to join us. Just as our panelists mentioned, there's a lot of ways you can get involved in the future of science at Clemson. You can leverage your personal network to help a Clemson student find an internship. You can offer your professional experience by coming back to speak to a class. Emily's done that recently. And you can give financially, like Emily's done, to support the various initiatives in the School of Mathematics and Statistical Sciences and across the College of Science. However way you want to be involved, your support is crucial. We want you to be on our team and be a part of advancing science at Clemson. If you're interested in learning more about the college, there's probably a link that they'll put up there to click below. Reach out if you have any further questions. And I'll just close by saying thank you again for joining us today, and go Tigers!